Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a vampire in Tamriel? I know I have. I mean, most of my playthroughs I am a vampire. But in the book we're reading today, it's somebody who used to be a vampire, and he gives us a little more life on what it's like to be one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this story. There are over 100 distinct kinds of vampires in Tamriel. The Illiac Bay region alone has 9 variations with unique powers and abilities. I have this information not only because I have been researching this blight of the world for the last 10 years of my life, but because of the 7 years before that, I was one of the creatures. Vampirism is a disease like brain rot or cholera, but far, far more insidious. One can become a vampire through certain magical items or by the curse of a powerful wizard. But the most common cause is the bite or a scratch of a vampire. There are no symptoms of vampirism except this. If the victim sleeps after the attack, but before he becomes a vampire, his sleep will be plagued with nightmares. During this 2 to 4 day period, when the disease has been spread but the victim is still mortal, most any temple healer can remove the curse of vampirism. There will be no further warning. I do not remember dying. I had been a scout for an order of knights, which shall go nameless for this. A daughter of local noblemen had been kidnapped by a mysterious character, and my captain has located his hideout. Deep in the dank underground chambers, I searched until I found the girl, or what remained of her, a corpse. The color of snow, drained of every drop of blood. I knew what the mystery man was right then, but he found me before I found the exit out. He took a good-sized hunk out of my fighting arm before I managed to outrun him. I figured I was lucky to be alive. Some luck. My trip back to the knightly order was a 5-day journey. I decided to get some rest early to get my arm in a better shape in case I found any more trouble. I can't remember the dreams I had that night, only that I was doing something horrible and I couldn't stop myself. I woke up screaming. The next night, at an inn, a little closer to my destination, my sleep was deep and dreamless. On the 3rd night, I died. Of course, I didn't know that I had died. I had gone to sleep in a nice, warm, feathered bed, and I woke up on a cold, wet stone mortuary slab. Dazed, I opened the door to the mausoleum, which I think must have been locked. I was in a cemetery, not far from a town I knew, so I wandered in. It was late at night, so there were precious few souls in the streets. I paused to read a public notice and the notice date. The date was 2 weeks later than I thought it must have been. As I puzzled over that, I saw a girl, a wench, at my favorite tavern in that town, wandering towards me. I hailed her. She ignored me. I called her by her name. She turned to me, smiling, but with an expression that told me she did not know who I was. I had visited her tavern on my way over to the mystery man's hideout, but she didn't know me. I told her my name. She angrily told me that it was a very poor joke, that I looked nothing like the brave knight who used to visit the town, and that, if I didn't know he was dead. My emotions were a tangled skein. I could tell she was not joking, that I looked nothing like myself. I was touched by her sorrow at my death, and horrified by the idea dawning on me of what I had become. Suddenly, an overriding instinct overcame all my thoughts. Hunger. Without even thinking about what I was doing, I reached out and tore her throat open. I drained her until she looked like the corpse in the mystery man's dungeon. I told in the first chapter of my story how I became a vampire, and of my first kill. While it might, and indeed should, horrify the reader, that my first victim was a friend of the mortal I used to be, it is my understanding that they are not common first kills. I left the snow-white corpse in the alley and ran to the only place I felt preservedly safe, the mausoleum. For the first couple of days of my undeath, I starved myself while I considered my fate. I relearned what I was capable of doing. I found out I was stronger, faster, tougher, and more agile than before. I had powers that as a knight I had only seen powerful mages wield. Later, I discovered additional abilities, such as a total immunity to disease. helpful when descending on a plague-stricken city like a jackal. I also found my weakness. I could no longer stand in the light of the sun. Exposure to it for longer than a few seconds burned me terribly. It also pained me to enter temples and other places of worship. The worst effect, of course, had to be my bloodlust. If I did not kill a warm-blooded creature once a night and drink its blood, my hunger would gnaw at me, and any wounds I suffered would not heal no matter how much I rested. Is this the moment for me to admit that there was a time I loved being a blood-sucking creature of the night? It is not impossible to live only at night, merely occasionally inconvenient. And I would have to kill humans every night. Merely warm-blooded creatures. Orcs have a delicious, rich, brothy blood. Rats are a little sweet for only a meal of the night. Werewolves are a real treat. Almost decadent, the tincture between human and beast. A real gourmet's delight. About a month after I died, I was having the best time of my life. One night, I received a letter from someone who said he was family. Curious, I went to visit him at his tavern, and he told me about this tribe of vampires to which I belonged. The Montalion. In return for me performing certain duties for the family, the man at the inn would train me in my vampiric abilities and skills. Though I never got very much detail, I surmised that the two main differences between the vampire clans is geography and powers. Montalion alone have the gift for teleportation, but the other 8 have powers of their own. My mentor, that is the title he used, would congratulate me after each mission I performed, and came to trust me more and more. If I asked, he would tell me about the Montalion's newest alliances, who they were manipulating, who they were stalking. It was then I started to become frightened at last. They, and all of their rival clans, were draining the blood of Tamriel itself. I panicked. I had to find a cure. But nowhere could I find any book or rumor suggesting that vampirism is anything but permanent, so I resolved to kill myself. But I wanted to bring the Montalion down with me. I joined guilds they opposed, and failed any mission given to me spectacularly. I thought my mentor would turn against me, but he only became quieter, less forthcoming with information, never violent. He was not concerned. He had probably seen vampires like me before. Here's why he never attacked me. Immortals can afford to be eternally patient. At last, he refused to give me any further missions. He wouldn't even talk to me. But he never left his tavern. I would come and go, and he'd watch but never talk. That's when I got another letter. There are several of us, you see, former vampires, who know what to look for. We're patient, too. We learned it in our unlife. We watch and listen, and anonymously contact the vampires we know wish to end the curse. Ending the curse is possible, but only just. It is very dangerous, but when you are cursed, the only real danger is no escape. Well, I hope you thought that story was just as interesting as I found it. I really like playing as a vampire in these games. I just really like vampires in general. But I do like how every clan has different powers. That is very good. I love it. But anyways, let me know what you would think, or what vampire clan you would join. And on a side note, this is a little plug for my live streams. We just finished doing every quest in Skyrim, and now we are going to be doing the same in Oblivion. So if you want to see that, hit that subscribe button and tune into the lives. It's pretty fun, very chill. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.